Washington.
This your boy, Martin for here once again.
Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is your boy Jamarty4 here once again, here to recap and review this week's episode of Chasing Atlanta. This is episode 9, all right? So we only got one episode left. We got this finale and then they taping the reunion soon. So girl, we're about to come to the close of this chapter. And I'll tell you this has been a wild ride, okay? I've been very much enjoying this season of Chasing Atlanta and can't wait to look forward to the upcoming installments of it as well. So, let's go ahead and get started into this episode. So, we lead off this episode sort of piggybacking off of where we left off the previous episode, I should say, with Oliver, Travis, Lauren, and Q, and this is the moment where Q and Oliver are sort of hashing things out. As we've seen over this course of the season, towards the beginning, how Oliver mentioned how him and Q have been sort of distant, and he's been trying to reach out, and he's hasn't been responding, and he wasn't necessarily 100% sure as to why. So this is where everything sort of comes to a head. And long story short, at least my takeaway from it is that really, I could see how both parties were at fault or could take some fault in sort of the breakdown of their relationship. From what I saw, not Q, but Oliver said some things apparently that, were damaging to Q. And he felt like because he didn't want to necessarily upset T.S. Madison, or she sort of had more of a say as to what was going on in the episode, and because he's just an employee of hers, he didn't want to necessarily stand against her wishes. But Q was kind of like, well, like, we're supposed to be friends. Like, it wouldn't matter to me who it was. I would not have, put out anything that was damaging to somebody that I call my brother, which I could definitely understand. Now, that's where I could say that Oliver is at fault, because he could have, it could be, the case could be made that he shouldn't have said what he said in the first place, because then there would be nothing to edit out. But let's say that he did do that, okay? If I felt like Oliver sort of knew what he did, and when he could sense that there was a problem, he may have said what he said to whomever, but at the same time, he did say that he did try to reach out to you to talk about it and communicate. And since you, Q, did not respond, or you weren't ready to, have the conversation, I felt like that allowed for things to fester. It allowed for things to just get miscommunicated more so than they already had. And at the same time, maybe you weren't ready to have that conversation. But the thing is, I think a lot of us, at least within our age range of like mid to late 20s going into the early 30s, when we're hurt by something, or we encounter sort of a disagreement with somebody, we feel like we shouldn't have to talk to them. We can just cut them off, distance ourselves, and as sort of like a punishment to them. But the thing is, a lot of times that just allows for further miscommunication. It allows for things to get misconstrued, because even if we don't have to have a conversation now. We don't have to talk about it right then, but you have to also communicate that, hey, right now is not a good time for me to have a level-headed conversation. I need some time away, and then I'll come back. But if you just don't answer or reply, like, it allows for, judgment to get misconstrued and everything can get mixed up, where they can start thinking things that aren't necessarily true. I hope that makes sense. So I think that's really what was going on between Oliver and Q's relationship. It was just a matter of both not communicating as effectively as they could have in the situation. That was my assessment. So next we get to see my good sis, Miss Troy. She is getting her Talk Live Tuesdays show on YouTube. Make sure you go check that out, and make sure to go and subscribe to the channel and follow them on Instagram. And so, he got his little suit on and things, got the studio, the lighting and stuff looking cute. And so he brought Dominique and Cameron in to kind of see the first show, because he was going to be interviewing an artist who happened to be his ex. I mean, sure, I'm on good terms with my exes, so I could see it, but I guess it depends on individual relationship, because Cameron was like, I could not. I could never. But he did kind of throw a little slight shade like it was a charity case. I caught that, sister. But as they're sitting there talking about, him getting the show and stuff together, they start to recap on some of the events that have been going on with some of the other members of the cast. And I think this is the part of the show where taping and the airing of the show start to overlap, because they're starting to reference things, I think, that were said on social media by the cast members who are watching the show. You know how a lot of people from the cast go live, they put certain things in their story, shady, jabs and things. So I think now they're starting to see things that people are saying towards the beginning of the show when it was airing. Because Oliver apparently went live and called people, or said that people were his friend, referencing Dominique. And I think Lauren had mentioned something about someone being ugly on some platform, or whether it was her platform or whatnot. And Dom said he's not really cool with that, which I get it. And it's, I don't know if that's just like a part of the process to have to say shady shit on social media just to kind of drive the drama and the show forward. Sometimes it's like, if you have to do that, it's like, how, I don't know. I feel like that does more harm than good if that's the case, but be that as it may. They feel a type of way about it. I wouldn't like it either, so I definitely agree with Dom on that. And so they want to address those things, of course, when they see them. And they mentioned how they haven't really seen Rico in a while. And I believe it was Cameron that brought up the idea that, well, not the idea, but the notion that Rico had just recently gotten into some sort of a fender bender or some car accident. And I'm just like, oh my God, not my baby daddy. But no, I do love me some Rico. But yeah, I'm like, that's not really like something you just kind of casually, throw out there. So I'm like, I hope he's, okay. I mean, obviously he's okay because we've seen him, but it's just kind of like, I would want to know something like that, especially if we're supposed to be cool. Like, I need to know if your life was in danger. Dominique goes on this, or makes a point to where I don't want, because me and Rico were close, I don't want it to be like he can't come to me and tell me something. I take my friendships very seriously, and he's not really one to try to make new friends. Now, I'll say this, I hope, I would like to think, actually, I already know. I know me and Dominique are friends, so I'm glad that he allowed me into the circle, So, because I love my sister. Him and Troy, I love my sisters. I do. I love them so much. So, hopefully they did get the chance to get up with Rico. I know Cam got to talk with Rico later on in the episode that we'll talk about. But yeah, we see that Troy, has his little intro. He has like his cards. He's looking like all professional and stuff. I'm like, okay, friend, I see you. I like that. I want to do that shit someday too. I ain't even gonna sit here and lie to you, child. I kind of want to do that too. But lastly, I forgot to mention that Cam was going to bring up that they're going to be doing Travis's white party. Now, I got the chance to speak to Dominique about it, and I was watching Q's review of a previous episode, and he sort of mentioned it as a reference to this finale taping and this white party and how ratchet it was and just horrible. So I'm just like, girl, I cannot wait to see. I cannot wait to see, because baby, I have a feeling we're gonna have a lot to talk about. So can't wait for that. Cannot wait for that. Miss Lauren England and her music video. All right, for Funny. You can tell she's in like this lavish studio, and she's got all this different colored lighting, the costumes. She looks good. She got this big, I want to say it was like a fur feather boa. I can't remember what it was, but it was some sort of, accenty, whatever the thing is over her neck, and she looked good. And then you got Q over here half naked, no complaints. Being her little video lead, love interest, whatever they're called. And I mean, it looks good. It looks like they were having a great time. The more that I hear the song, it is a catchy song. It is, and it really like, I couldn't see anybody else on the cast making that song other than her. It fits so much to excuse me, who she is and sort of just her personality. So, I mean, it's cute. I like to still see like the different avenues that the different cast members take on with music, art, just whatever sort of creative that they do. It's so great to see, and I'm just excited to see it all. Now, probably one of my favorite scenes of this episode. And so Oliver is filming his video segment, or like I don't necessarily call it, it's not like a music video, because he was filming for Monique Hart. Shout out to my sister Monique from RuPaul's Drag Race Season 10 and All Stars 4. That's my good Judy. She does her Twitch stream. I believe it's only been once a month thus far. House of Heart, and she asked Oliver to perform, and so they sort of submit videos and she sort of edits them together and then puts it out there for everybody to watch, all the different performers. So they're filming Oliver's set, and Oliver apparently invited everyone to cameo in the video because it's going to be seen by, you know, a large amount of people, because thousands of people watch Monique Hart's Twitch stream. So it'd be a great opportunity. And however, only Dominique showed up. So, and Dominique brought his boyfriend Anthony. Shout out to Anthony. And I mean, this goes to show like what Dominique has been saying. Like, you know, everybody else wants to say this, that, and the fourth. Dominique ain't doing nothing, but Dominique's the only one that's showing up to these events. So, he is. He's the only one that's showing up. So I'm like, okay, what they about to do, what they about to get into. So she's, Dominique gets to the confessions like, let it be known that I am a dancer. Okay, and my boyfriend is a dancer, so we about to get out here and buck. I'm like, okay, let me see what you're working with, Fred. Let me see. Baby, they got out there and did a little bit of 1-2, got down low with their knees, you know, but doing all this stuff. I'm like, girl, all right. We love to see it. I had to put that in my story. Make sure y'all go follow me when this is over at Jamar4. Go check out the story. And I just saw that the Chase from Reality homepage had shared it, so I'm really thankful for that. That's so awesome. But that was good. That was a cute little scene. I really enjoyed that. And he was doing like a remix to Queens Everywhere from RuPaul. That was the season 11. Really like the main song from season 11 that they play in the background. You know, like usually each season RuPaul kind of promotes a certain song. And that was like the final 5 or the top 5 like remix song that they do every season, which is one of my favorites. It's really a shame that season didn't really get the love that it wanted, but this ain't about RuPaul. But that was a dope remix that I loved Oliver, what he did with it, and watching my friends in their back bucking it down. I loved it. I really did. That was one of my favorite scenes. Now, also one of my favorite, like this was a relatively drama-free episode, and I know a lot of people might consider it boring, but it's kind of good to take a break and just kind of really get to like a center, the center to a lot of stuff, and kind of break things down. We don't have to be like rah all the time. It's kind of good to just break things up and have a balance. Okay, so Cameron meets up with Rico finally, and Rico sort of explains, you know, that he can't get to this little accident, and he recently became single again, thank God. I mean, oh no, but thank God. You know what I mean? Let me shut up. Rico don't want my ass. But anyway. So he's kind of sharing with Cam that he's relatively a private person. Whenever he's going through things, he likes to go through them privately, which I understand. Not a lot of people really get a lot from just spewing all their business on social media for everybody to judge and do all. No. I'm not really like that either. I give what I want to give and what I wouldn't care for people to see. So I definitely understood where Rico was coming from. And so it was great that, you know, I feel like this conversation that Cam is having with Rico in regards to how he's feeling about how nobody really supported him the way that they say that they do. And even though people say it, how genuine is it? He kind of felt a way about, you know, how Lauren's been sort of treating him overall. And he was having like he went back to the doctor, he got checked up, and there was like, they found like another mass, that it could be leading to some sort of colon cancer. And he's not really comfortable sharing, you know, personal things that he's going through. And he sort of had like a semi breakdown, and, you know, of course, Rico comforted him. And it was really nice to see. It was nice to see like the support, you know, another person, because that is like something that can weigh heavy, you know, on someone who is going through that. Like, cancer is some scary shit. Cancer is something that's taking people out of here. And if you're dealing with cancer, especially during like a pandemic, and you're not really sharing it with anybody, you're just kind of dealing with it internally, that can eat you alive, okay? So shout out to Cameron. I hope he's doing well. And I'm glad that Rico was there for him in that moment. It was a great thing to see. So, next we get to see Kendra on the set of her video for No Justice, No Peace. And they gave like a great collage showcasing Black Lives Matter and just like the sort of 2020 wrap up. Really like late night 2019, 2020 wrap up that we have been going through as the Black Lives Matter movement, showcasing Tamir Rice, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and just recently, if I'm not mistaken, they took I think there's more, but they suspended 2 of the police officers involved with Breonna Taylor's murder. They've been suspended. And I'm not really sure what suspended means for them, because sometimes they say suspended and it's just like a paid vacation and they come back to work. So hopefully they got, suspended indefinitely and can never work no more and just are jobless. Okay, that's what I'm hoping. But they're on the set of this new song, No Justice, No Peace. So you gotta go to Kendra's YouTube channel and support and stream the song as well. And, when they're taking a break, they kind of make a discussion about how Kendra's upcoming court case is coming and how she's nervous about potentially having to go back to jail. And of course, Wayne's getting emotional because, that is his friend and he is her ride or die, okay? He is her ride or die, and he doesn't want to see anything happen to her. He doesn't want her to feel like, her career is waning just because he supports her in all, facets, emotionally, physically, all those things. So it is great to see their relationship, even though we've been critical of Wade in the past. It's still like, you can't, fault him for loving his friend. You know what I mean? So it is good to see that kind of level of friendship, because he got emotional, and of course Kendra started getting emotional. So, of course everything obviously went well, because we still see Kendra out today. But it was great to see them have like that tender moment with one another. I think that was really, really nice. So lastly, the last scene that we get is with Wayne and Kendra are out at this park, and they're expecting to meet with Troy, right? Because they want to sort of, before they get together for this white party, they want to have a chance to kind of get together, communicate about what happened at the brunch, since they haven't really had a chance to hash that out in like a civil manner at this point. And so they're outside and they're waiting, and instead of Troy, Cameron shows up, and we're kind of like, okay. Initially, I'm thinking that Cameron's just kind of there to act as a mediator of sorts, but it seems like he was more of a messenger. And what the case is that Troy couldn't come because of work. Okay, excuse me. Troy couldn't come because of work. But instead of just not showing up, he sent a video, okay, sort of showcasing like, hey, I'm sorry that things went the way that it did. It was fucked up. I do want to explain that I was upset that, it was my birthday party and you acted a certain way. And of course, Kendra was like, well, you threw a cup at me. And honestly, like, their situation again is kind of like I think Kendra should recognize where her actions, even though she may justify them in her mind as to who they were directed towards, how it could indirectly affect someone else, and that someone else being Troy. And I feel like his feelings are valid. However, I do feel like, Kendra has validity in how she felt as well, but it could have just been handled a different way on both parts. So it would have been great for them to have that conversation. But one thing that Troy did mention is that Wayne is going to be the detriment. and I'm not going to sit here and lie, because I echoed those thoughts too. And, of course, after getting a chance to interview her and Wayne and sort of getting to know him a little bit better outside of just the platform, I see what he does. Of course, you can still be, you can give criticism and say that he could do things a little bit differently as a role of a manager. But I'm not going to say that she should just not work with him anymore. You know what I'm saying? And she says that everything that I've done, success that I have in my music career is attained to Wayne. So I was like, well, I mean, we can't really say it because we all like the music and we love little Kendra, and he pushes her everywhere all the time. So we might disagree with his methods on certain things, but apparently it's working, you know? So, but of course, you know, because him and Troy had a little spat, of course, that's going to be the point that Troy drives home. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm sure that they have more in-person or personal sit-down at this finale white party, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. But that was pretty much the episode, you guys. Let me know your thoughts of everything that went down in the episode in the bottom below. I would love to hear your feedback. Ooh, excuse me. And then again, also, if you're not aware, my co-host Scotty and I, for the Prelude YouTube show, we are still in the midst of fundraising for the new laptop so that we can promote and create our upcoming podcast. But we need something that has the proper editing software, so that fundraiser will be in the description below. We are at $300 away from our $1,200 goal. We've already raised $900 whole US American dollars. So I thank each and every one of you who have decided to donate. And if you decide to donate, the link will be in the bottom. And I want to thank you in advance. Thank you guys so much for all your love and support up until this point. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.
Like, share, subscribe.
Washington, Washington, Washington.